Welcome back. I'll tell you what time it is, but I don't know. So I'm gonna tell you a little story. Some little fun. Doing a little editing, watching YouTube, putting stuff away. So we went on an adventure the other day, and so we met up with Gordon, and we flew a bunch of spots I've wanted to fly, some new locations, made some new memories, had a lot of fun. And in the middle of it, our last destination, of course, this beautiful piece of work here, my avata, aka Necronaut, decided to go for a swim. And the first question is, well, did it survive? I'll get to that. It's still here. That is, let me turn the TV down a little bit. That is the most important part of the story, is that the dedication of a great friend, effin Chet, and Gordon for watching our stuff while I went for a murky swim. But let's back up a little bit. So yeah, we're flying our last location. We're scoping it out. The few people that were in the area, we were talking to about them and showing them the drone and what we were going to do, and they were all cool about it, and they were playing some frisbee golf in the area, and like I said, scoping for people, setting up who was going to spot for who, all that fun stuff. Man, I got grass in here. So Chet flew. He got an awesome pack in. I love the footage he got. And then he was setting up, spotting for me, and he picked his spot. I told him where I was going to fly, and kind of where I was standing, sort of in front of me, about 100 feet or so, was a really cool pond with a dam in the back, and I wanted to break through the trees and get to that. And then I was going to kind of coast up the pond into a tiny swamp. The swamp had a landmass that ran across it with a bridge, and then into a huge swamp. That was my intent. So I embark on my journey and farting around, watching them doing their frisbee thing there, frisbee golf, and then I start my ascent out into the pond, starting to sprinkle out of nowhere, and then we had some weird weather, and it's cool because you can actually see it raining a little bit in that shot. So I'm going to leave that stuff in. I go all the way to the end of the dam, work my way back through the pond, and I was pissed because I kind of was speeding a little bit. My pace was faster than I wanted, and with that in mind of being able to slow down the shot and not make it look too slow, I started flying to the back of the pond. I started to crest into this little swamp area. I'm kind of already looking far ahead, picking my lines and stuff. And the way the sun, and at that time, the clouds it was a lot of them, and it was really gray. And it's kind of like this, I'm going towards the light into the opening, and I didn't see this scraggly branch right before this little bridge, basically where effin Chet was, so he could see my entire flight path. So I come into it, and then as I get right on that little twig, I already had enough momentum because I was going faster than I wanted to, and that's all my fault. But I bump it, and I kind of back off, but I think it latched on to right here. And when I backed off, it just immediately took it, twisted it. I saw the twist, and then I saw black. So I knew I went down, and I lost the video signal. Future Christopher. This is future Christopher. Talking to past Christopher. Wanted to explain something real quick here in the future. Hopefully it doesn't look really weird in the future. I'm going to freak everybody out, because past Christopher, whatever he is, versus future Christopher. Future Xplicit. There you go. Anyway, sorry, allergies, right? My eyes are burning up. In the future here, I still have allergies. Anyway, to explain the crash, after further reviewing the evidence and interrupting past Christopher, Xplicit, blah, 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 the avata, like many DJI things, has this emergency shutoff thing. So if you take it while it's floating in the air and you go like this, it shuts off the motors and you walk away with it. If I take off or land, if I land in an area next to myself that is not conducive of a nice flat landing, I usually just take the goggles off or bring it close, grab it, twist it, done. So what ended up happening in the video that you have seen or are about to see, That is exactly what that little tree branch did. It kind of bumped into it. When I backed off, it hooked. And when it twisted it to the side a little bit, it instantly shut it off. And that was the reason for the fall. That's why I lost my video. And it got really muddy and really murky. But the good news is the battery is fine. The quad flies. It was a little hairy, but it's good. But you already know that because past Christopher told you that. And now future Christopher is telling you that, so it's really awkward. But I'm going to stop interrupting myself. So get back into the other video and I lost the video signal. So my first thought was I lost my battery. So great, you know, quick panic. Chet was very close to it, so a 2-second run. He went running over there. I put my controller, or I grabbed my controller goggles and whatever I needed and kind of jogged over there. It took me about a minute or so to get over there. And thankfully, he knew exactly, pinpointed where it went down versus where I was looking quite a ways off. And then when I realized it is an absolute shit swamp, I'm like, this can't be cool. I'm like, do you have eyes on it? He goes, yeah, it's right there. On top of the water, my LED, which I don't have. Do I have? Hold on. I thought I pulled everything out. Is it still in the bag? Might be still in the bag. Bear with me. Is it in the bag or did I yank it out? Nope. Perfect. Cool. So 2 important things that I fly with this thing is I got the V-Fly little beeper, which did not like the water but still works, and this little cheapy thing. I bought a 3-pack of these. Battery's dead. It worked yesterday. It's funny. Huh. Anyway, so this thing, actually, I have a little charger right here. Hold on. Do I have the charger for it? There it is. Cheapy charger. Let's plug it in and see if it still works. I dropped you, my bad. I think I actually killed it. It worked yesterday. That's crazy. Oh no, I didn't plug it in. Yeah, water must have... Oh, there it goes. It still works. Sorry, I'm not in camera view here. So it still works. Damn it! So the battery just must have died. So anyway, let me turn it off while it charges here. That little thing was floating on top of the water, flashing, and I had it so it set so it flashed all the different colors in it every second, and literally would just blub 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 across the water. So I kind of panicked. I put the goggles down, put the controller down, took my phone out of my pocket. Gordon walked up to meet us, and I handed him my goggles and my controller, and I put my phone back in my pocket, and then I jumped into the muck. I jumped in gently enough. It was like a 2-foot-ish step down into the muck, and I kind of stood on it, and it was just about the middle of my shins. And then when I put actual weight down to try to grab it, I sank all the way up past my waist into the muck. So now the water is just you know, mid-chest, a little higher, just under the boob, giggity. So I'm like, all right. And in the midst of this, I stirred up all the dirt and stuff, so now I couldn't see it. This happened very, very fast. Seemed like an eternity, and panicking because now I can't see. So I get close and I reach down, and I had to hold stick. Chet was on land with a branch type thing, so my right hand was holding the branch to support me, and then I was reaching down in to reach, and I missed. I got too close to myself, and I reached down completely. I had to submerge myself into it and missed, and I went through all of this murk and dinosaur shit, mud and branches and stuff I don't like touching. Disgusting. And missed, and I stirred it up even more. I forgot that this thing was floating, didn't pick it up, and it literally was in the same spot. So Chet said, go right underneath this. So I literally just reached right in, felt this. It was upside down, so it was crazy. It was kind of like that. So I just reached in, grabbed it, quickly, safely unplugged everything. The V-Fly did not bounce off. I used my little battery guard that sits right here on the back of the arms, and the battery was still intact. although it hit water versus land. Don't know if that would have helped any, but everything was still there. Able to get it out, start drying it off, doing the whole thing. It sat on a car the rest of the day, praying that it worked. Got all the, there was mud inside the motors. It just was. I was upset, but how upset can you be? You know, it is a material thing. Yeah, it's expensive and all that fun shit, but at the end of the day, it came home. So my footage, I got all of the footage. And it sucks because, like, when you... So this has a neat feature where if it's flying, you take and you twist it, it stops. It shuts the motors off, stops the recording. It does the exact same thing once the quad started to twist and fall. It did the twist thing and it shut off the recording, so you don't see any crash. And in that sense, you know, for the essence of sharing with you guys, I would have preferred to have shown you that part because I'm human, I crash, and that way you would have seen it. But anyway, so I am completely soaked. Thankfully, Chet had a big, huge garbage bag type thing that I was able to sit on until we got back to Gordon's house. And Gordon's graciousness had some clothes I could wear while I threw my shit in the dryer. I'm not a sweatpants wearing kind of fella. Let's just leave it at that. And thankfully he had some, so I could still fly around the yard at his house and hang out with a dry t-shirt until my shit dried. So the hospitality. Love your brother, thank you. So yes, to the main thing at hand. I was very, very scared this morning. I shook it again. I aired it out again this morning. I put in a battery, and it acted funky. I mean, you know, with the batteries, you can tap them, and then it tells you your how many dots versus cells are active and whatnot. And it was about 3 bars the way it left yesterday, and it was just acting weird. It was going dot, 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 then not doing anything, and then showing solid dots. So it was acting a little funny. And I was definitely nervous. Controller was on. What ended up happening, it like completely desynced itself from the controller, which didn't make any sense to me, so I had to hold the power button and then do the same thing on the controller. It linked back up. The first time these things, there must have been gunk or something more, because it just made funny sounds, like the ESCs did some weird shit. Mind you, my heart just stopped, like completely cold. Turned it off, made sure there was nothing in them, did it all again. It completely initialized, and this was outside, mind you, because there's no GPS. I wanted to make sure the GPS and all that worked. Everything initialized, the motor's armed. I turned the goggles on. Everything was golden. I had to sync it to the goggles again too. So I did all of that, and then I popped it up in the air, and I just flew the rest of the battery, flying low in case something happened, all over the yard, and no weirdness. Camera, recording, everything was fantastic. After that, I charged the battery back up to halfway and just redid everything again. Same battery. And all seems good. No weirdness going on. Nice and dry. You still see gunk from going through branches and stuff like that. So the Avata has survived. The Necronaut has survived one more flight. It's humbling. It's part of the experience. Effin Chet and I laughed the whole way home, because it's just, that's how you find out who your friends are in the middle of a shitty situation. I know a lot of people would not have gotten involved, or nor would want to jump into that mud. And I was contemplating because of my ankle and just panicking, trying to put stuff down. And if I hesitated 2 more seconds, Effin Chet was already halfway jumping in. And that's a sign of a great friend. He's just willing to do that. And when I lost my Insta 360 in the field, he was there with me the entire time. I'm the one that had to call it quits, because I felt bad for holding him up in his time, and he even came back days later to help me search after work. So the dedication to my friend, man. But so the Avata is good. The V-Fly, let's see if it turns on. Where's the button? Look at that. Awesome. Sweet. Anyway, so yeah, all is good on the home front. I'm glad my friend made it back. Thank you for tuning in. Any questions, share your experience if you dropped one in the drink. This isn't my first one. One of my first, when Mr. Cinematic was around, I dropped it in the same spot in the river behind my house twice. Once was we were flying from, we just finished one spot in there. In the middle of conversating, I already had put the new battery on it and was ready to go, but I farted and I took the new battery off, put the dead battery back in. I took off over the bank and right into the water it went. So did I. Jumped in right after it. Got home, dried it out, aired it out. Everything was great. Went back to that same spot, and I was flying all the way around the oxbow part of the river. And when I basically got to the same spot, I bumped the ghost branch and it sent it right into the water. And then I went back in again, diving in. Thankfully, the water was deep at the time, but that quad survived that too. So it happens. It's part of the hobby. You got to get past it. Don't be afraid of it. It's only electronics, and have fun with it. Make the best of your situation. That's the moral of the story. So thank you for tuning in. God bless everybody. Share your stories. Peace out.